Ah, well met, hero. I bet you're wondering right now why it is that you have been summoned to this sacred place, the Chamber of Sages. Well, you see, a while back I uploaded a theory video that made the claim that a specific location within the depths was actually the Evil Realm, which is where Ganondorf was sealed by the 7 sages at the end of Ocarina of Time. During the opening of the Wind Waker, it is stated that when Ganondorf broke free from this imprisonment, he crept forth from the depths of the earth, which heavily implied that the Evil Realm, and in turn the Sacred Realm, was actually located far below the surface of the world. This also implied that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom takes place in the adult timeline, because in that timeline, the Evil Realm was never reverted back into the Sacred Realm. At the time, it was a pretty outlandish statement to make, but I believe I might have been far more spot on than I could have ever imagined. You see, when the announcement for the Masterworks book for Tears of the Kingdom was made, we got to see a few snippets of lore from the upcoming book before its release, and in one of them it says that the entire structure leading up to and including the area in which Ganondorf was sealed by Rauru in Tears of the Kingdom is actually called the Temple of Light. The Temple of Light is said to be located at the center of the Sacred Realm, and since the Sacred Realm was corrupted into the Evil Realm by Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, then does this small detail finally confirm my theory that these games take place in the adult timeline, and that hidden deep within the depths lies the legendary Evil Realm in which Ganondorf was imprisoned? Before we get too excited, let's take a look at some of the other details that I've since picked up on within the time I last made that previous video, and that will undoubtedly add even more fuel to this theory. And so, without further ado, with our thinking wigs on nice and tight, let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. If we are to assume that the Evil Realm / Sacred Realm really was located below the surface of the earth, then let's analyze a quote from an interview with Tears of the Kingdom's director Hidemaru Fujibayashi. When asked about Shrines of Light, Fujibayashi stated the following: "The Shrines of Light themselves were built before Rauru founded Hyrule. Before the Demon King Ganondorf appeared, there were still a lot of evil beings, so Rauru and Sonia went around various places to calm things down. Shrines are placed above where a demon was destroyed so it will not reappear. This is why that spiral of light emerges from the shrine." You know, let's see if we can go ahead and break this down a bit. First off, let's establish right away what Shrines of Light actually are and what their true purpose really is. Shrines of Light appear to be nothing more than a meditative playground that also doubles as a storage unit for the holy element of pure sacred light. Rauru tells us that long ago he once filled every Shrine of Light with a sacred light that purges ancient evil. By filling them with light, I believe he specifically meant the light of blessings that are obtained as a reward for completing the seemingly pointless obstacle course found in every shrine. Based on Rauru's dialogue after completing the first shrine, it sounds to me like Rauru is fully aware of the fact that the interiors of Shrines of Light are purposefully designed to be playgrounds that reward people with a light of blessing, and that he's also aware that 4 of them are required to make an offering to the goddess statue, which leads me to believe that Shrines of Light were not actually meant to serve any other purpose, let alone supposedly keeping a demon sealed away. If Shrines of Light were created to prevent a demon from resurrecting, then I highly doubt they'd be designed in such a strange, nonchalant manner. There's even a ton of Shrines of Light all across Hyrule that aren't even fully assembled, so I really doubt that the Shrines of Light themselves are what's performing the necessary function required that keeps demons sealed away. Now, what would make a lot more sense is if the light route that's directly connected to every shrine on the surface is what's actually keeping the demons sealed away. This is what I believe Fujibayashi meant when he said that Shrines of Light were placed above the location where a demon was destroyed, which kind of makes me wonder if Rauru and Sonia's pilgrimage of light took place in the depths and not on the surface. Allow me to explain. Rauru filled Shrines of Light with a sacred light that purges evil, and the Light of Blessings are believed to be the sacred light in which Rauru is referring to. The description of a Light of Blessing states the following: "A crystal that glows with a light that purges ancient evil and purifies with its radiance." At first glance, the phrase "purges ancient evil" might appear to be in reference to Ganondorf's gloom, which would make sense if this was a description created by Link, since from his perspective, Ganondorf and his magic logic, appear to be quite an ancient evil. However, if you think about it, in reality, Link would have absolutely no clue what that bright thing was that was just absorbed into his arm. So the fact that the description specifically states that it was meant to purge an ancient evil from the perspective of Rauru who created it makes things a lot more interesting. If that wasn't enough, the shrines themselves state on multiple occasions that they imprison and purify an ancient evil. Although I still doubt that the ancient evil in question was actually imprisoned within the literal interiors of shrines of light, which I will elaborate on in a moment. What could this mysterious evil that's ancient in the eyes of even Rauru himself back in his own time period possibly be? In order to answer this question, let's take a look at the rest of the item's description. A light of blessing also purifies with its radiance. A purifying light that can even purge darkness with merely its glow, huh? That sounds strangely familiar. When you activate a light root, the root itself appears to siphon light from the shrine that's directly connected to it on the surface. This then seems to purify the area around it, dispelling the darkness and allowing lush vegetation to grow around its perimeter. I'm starting to get the feeling that shrines of light were filled with light of blessings for the sole purpose of supplying their light roots with the power to purify the depths. To make things even more clear that this is actually the case, when you read the description of the Dispelling Darkness medal, a reward for activating every light root in the game, it states that the medal commemorates blessings received by the light roots, suggesting that the activation of a light root really does harness the purifying power of a light of blessing. It seems to me that light roots are the most important part of shrines of light that actually performs the function of actively purging an ancient evil. But what exactly is so ancient and evil about what seems to be just a gigantic barren underground cavern? Well, if I had to take a guess, it would probably be the possibility that the depths over time has become infected by the spreading influence of the evil realm that was created by Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time countless ages ago. The appearance of plants and flowers at the base of an activated light root might be revealing to us what the depths used to actually look like before it was corrupted by the darkness of the evil realm that has now fully consumed the entirety of the depths, completely twisting and altering the land that it has overtaken. As for the exact location of the evil realm from which the depths are being overtaken by, I will reveal momentarily, but before that, there's a few more things about light roots that need to be addressed. The large glowing orbs near the base of all light roots might seem like their only purpose is to provide a source of light, brightening their surroundings and potentially even purifying the corrosive darkness around them. But I have a pretty good feeling that these orbs are also the actual locations in which a demon was sealed away during Sonia and Raru's pilgrimage of light. Why do I think this, you ask? Well, the theorizing just keeps on getting deeper and deeper, so go ahead and buckle up and prepare yourselves for an answer that I guarantee you won't be expecting. If we are to assume that the demons Rauru and Sonia sealed away during their pilgrimage of light were actually being contained inside of these glowing orbs near the base of all light roots, then how can we help prove that this is actually the case and not just merely a baseless assumption? To begin our search for answers, let's take a quick look at the past and present versions of the Great Plateau. In the past, there used to be 4 shrines of light situated on the Great Plateau in the exact same locations as Sheikah shrines from Breath of the Wild. After you finish playing through the intro of Tears of the Kingdom, an event called the Upheaval occurs that causes numerous chasms to appear all across the surface of Hyrule. The only chasms that we can confirm for a fact that appeared in the exact same location as a Shrine of Light are the 4 chasms on the Great Plateau. This heavily implies that these 4 Shrines of Light, as well as their respective light roots, were destroyed by the Upheaval, and as a result, a small chasm is all that remains in place of where the light root used to be. If these light roots that supposedly imprisoned demons, preventing them from resurrecting, were destroyed by the Upheaval, then that would logically mean that 4 demons have been set free, right? How coincidental is it that we just so happen to encounter 4 powerful demons throughout our journey in Tears of the Kingdom? Kolgera, Muktarok, Marbled Goma, and Queen Gibdo. What's even more coincidental is the fact that there are several locations scattered across the depths where you can only encounter these demons for a rematch after they have been defeated for the very first time in each temple. They are now freely able to resurrect, and the location in which they do choose to resurrect is within the depths, or should I say, the evil realm. Very coincidental indeed. As a quick side note, there's also the fact that all 4 of the eyes belonging to the Bargainer statue underneath the Great Plateau can be found on the edge of each chasm where a Shrine of Light used to be. I made another theory video that talks about this little detail, so if you're interested in checking that one out, a link will be in the description. Getting back on track, I feel like you probably still need a little bit more convincing that light roots contain imprisoned demons. So let's go ahead and see if the next piece of evidence that I found finally does the trick. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this next piece of evidence, why don't we go ahead and refresh our memories on what the entirety of a Shrine of Light setup actually looks like. A Shrine of Light sits directly above and is also directly connected to a light root that extends downward, which then somewhat mimics the shape of a Shrine of Light near the base of the light root. This glowing organic membrane section is believed to be the location in which a demon is sealed. Remember this key detail as it'll come into play in a moment. When Ganondorf was sealed inside of the Evil Realm by the 7 sages, he was specifically sealed in the void of the Evil Realm, as was stated to be the plan upon meeting Ocarina of Time's Rauru for the first time, as well as being reiterated once again during the sealing process itself. So this most likely wasn't just a peculiar choice of wording. Since the Temple of Light is stated to be located in the center of the Sacred Realm, which was corrupted into the Evil Realm by Ganondorf's entry, then logically the void of the Evil Realm must mean it's somewhere below the Temple of Light, right? And what do we find in Tears of the Kingdom? A massive void beneath the Temple of Light. But that's not the only thing that we find below the Temple of Light. What lies at the bottom of this void is an absolutely massive tree-like structure with an oddly familiar glowing organic membrane near the base of it. You heard that right. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the mother of all light roots, the exact location in which Ocarina of Time's Ganondorf was sealed inside the void of the Evil Realm. The same exact location in which he eventually broke free from and blasted his way out of from the depths of the earth, creeping back up to the surface, leaving an enormous chasm behind that was eventually plugged back up again by the following generation of Sheikah and Hylians shortly after the era of the Zonai came to a close. The reach of this insidious giant light root is seen breaching into the surface of the depths, thus explaining why chasms suddenly appeared all across Hyrule following the aftermath of the upheaval. Gloom's origin in Tears of the Kingdom is where we find a recovering Ganondorf sitting upon the same throne that one of his previous incarnations once sat, sealed away. The Chamber of Sages, a room said to be located inside of the Temple of Light, upon sealing away Ganondorf, a portal of light opens up in the center of it where Ganondorf was imprisoned. The platform where you first come across Ganondorf in the intro of Tears of the Kingdom, the room that I believe to be representative of the Chamber of Sages in Ocarina of Time, perfectly positioned directly beneath it, almost as if intentionally by the desire of the developers, lies the room in which we come across Ganondorf awaiting us at Journey's End. Using the boundless sacred light of the Chamber of Sages in Ocarina of Time, Rauru the Ancient Sage of Light effectively performed an identical act of sealing a demon as seen in the method used by Rauru the Zonai King of Light in Tears of the Kingdom, light root and all. The final piece of evidence that I'd like to present is possibly one of the most important and widely overlooked events in the entire game. As you descend into the chasm leading into the final confrontation with Ganondorf, you'll eventually receive the ominous message, "The power of a sage cannot reach you." As foreboding as it is, nobody seemed to question the incredible significance of this simple message up until now. The reason why you receive this message is because you just physically entered the outer limits of the Evil Realm. Once again referring to Ocarina of Time's Rauru, he gives us an equally disheartening warning that the magical powers of a sage, after the Sacred Realm was corrupted into the Evil Realm, now has little to no influence outside of the Chamber of Sages, meaning his powers are unable to reach you, potentially confirming that Link, in this very moment, might have unknowingly stepped foot into the exact same forbidden primordial realm of pure, unbridled evil that was created as a result of the events that led up to the creation of the adult timeline. Does all of this evidence finally prove that the placements of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are firmly within the adult timeline at long last? If this truly is the case, then let's do one final summarization of the timeline of events that we've created so far and see what we think. At the end of Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf was defeated and sealed inside of the Evil Realm, which was located here. Ganondorf, with the aid of his Triforce Piece of Power, quickly escaped his imprisonment and broke through the earth above, climbing back up to the surface once more. This is how the giant chasm underneath Hyrule Castle came into existence, which is also what allowed malicious entities from the Evil Realm to freely plague the surface of Hyrule until the Zonai arrived, building their way down into the chasm to put a stop to it. Deprived of a hero, the king gathered the sages and conducted a song that would call upon the gods for salvation from Ganondorf's wrath. In response, the gods flooded Hyrule with a temporary ethereal water in order to prevent Ganondorf from conquering it, sealing him beneath the waves once again in the process. After defeating Ganondorf at the end of Wind Waker by King Daphnis' wish upon the Triforce, the old Hyrule was washed away by the Great Sea. With the initial purpose of the ethereal water now gone, as there no longer exists a kingdom to protect, the Great Sea would eventually dissipate beneath a newly formed layer of earth that grew over the top of the Great Sea with the assistance of the Koroks. This new layer of of Earth would later become the second kingdom of Hyrule in the distant future, while the old Hyrule below, now a vast underground cavern, would become the depths, and soon an extension of the festering evil realm just below it. After exploring the giant chasm left behind by Ganondorf's return and the Wind Waker, the Zonai stumbled upon the source of the evil that was terrorizing the surface, which turned out to be the depths, now an integral part of the evil realm itself. Utilizing the freshly corrupted depths as an unending spawning ground for demons, the evil realm ceaselessly tormented the surface and needed to be stopped. During Sonia and Raru's pilgrimage of light, they traversed the depths and purged demon after demon, imprisoning them within light roots. Using shrines of light on the surface, a perpetual source of light that supplied light roots with the necessary power required for demons to remain imprisoned, they were able to fully prevent them from resurrecting, thus slowly eliminating their threat to the surface. Now fully aware of the layout and most likely the origin and significance of the giant chasm, Raru lured Ganon, the Demon King, into the perfect location for his inevitable defeat. The Temple of Light, now Ganondorf's tomb within the evil realm for the second time, and the giant chasm in which he was contained was then covered up by the construction of Hyrule Castle, preventing evil from escaping ever again, until it eventually did escape anyway. And that, to me, seems to be the story of Tears of the Kingdom. So, after everything that you've heard so far, have I managed to convince you that the depths are without a doubt, and rightfully so, the place in which evil spawns and could very well be an extension of the evil realm itself that originated from the events of Ocarina of Time? Let me know what you think about my utterly insane babblings of a madman in the comments section below. A huge shout out goes out to Swagmaster for poking my brain with a Zelda lore shaped stick, allowing it to fire back up again and revisit an old favorite theory of mine with a brand new perspective. Go ahead and pay his channel a visit and show him some love. Another massive thank you goes out to my amazing Hero Shade Tier YouTube members and patrons whose glorious names are now on the screen: Florian, Jonesy G, Dr. Marble, Game Trekker, Minimags, Simon D, and Swagmaster. Your incredible support and dedication to this channel is what allows me to continue doing what I love, and I will forever be grateful for your generous contributions. You are all seriously Bonafide legends. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, there is much more to come in the future, so please subscribe and stick around for another onslaught of Zelda lore from Gossip Geist.